going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So my last video was me doing 100,000 steps in a day. I actually ended up doing 111,000, and if you haven't watched the video, I would highly recommend you go watch it, because that video was interesting, exciting. You got to see me walk the 100,000 steps, how I did it, and what went down basically. This video is just going to be like an informational video. I'm just going to sit here and give basically my advice and explain how I walked the 100,000 steps, because I think from the video it might seem easy. I just went out and I did it, and to be honest, it was easy. But the reason it was easy is because I did a lot of pre-planning and I thought of how I was going to do it, which afterwards I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of other people doing the 100,000 steps, and a lot of them, like, some were literally crying and others were saying that it was like the hardest thing they've ever done and all of this stuff, which, yeah, to me it was just an easy challenge. Like, I very much just went out and I did it and I had fun. Like, if I had to describe it, I would say it was overall a great experience. I ate a lot of food and I walked a bunch, listened to a bunch of podcasts. But other people described it as like the hardest thing they've ever done and such. So I want to go through like what I did that enabled me to succeed. Alright, so in terms of pre-planning, a lot actually went into it before I even did the challenge. I'd had the idea for like literally years, I think, because I saw another YouTube video, which now there's so many videos on it. But yeah, so one of the things I did was I knew I would have to wake up at around at least 5, like my idea was to wake up at 5 a.m. and then if I was lucky I would be done at 9 p.m. but I didn't think that was possible. 10 p.m. was realistic, and I thought 11 p.m. it would be like, that would be a bad time, but you know, it is what it is. But I wanted to be done by 12 because I wanted to do it in a day, not 24 hours. So to wake up at 5 a.m., if you wake up at 5 a.m. and you have to walk a whole day, you're going to be tired. Like, that's not going to be fun. So I adjusted my sleep schedule the week prior and started waking up at 5 a.m. Another thing I did was the week beforehand, like, I would say, and that's another reason that I think it was easier for me than a lot of people, like in the other videos I've watched. I've been running a lot, and in the week prior to the challenge, I was running and walking, I think, a total of 30,000 steps a day on average. So I was obviously in, an okay physical condition to be able to do this. I think if you're overweight or like live a sedentary lifestyle, then yeah, it's going to be more difficult, obviously. I still think it's very, like, not easy, but possible, because it's more a mental challenge than anything else, to be honest. So I knew on the day that I wouldn't have time for anything but walking, basically. So I meal prepped everything ahead of time. I had a big breakfast with rice. I had a big lunch, which was also like rice, like Thai food. And then I had a big dinner, which was also rice. There's a trend here, like a curry. And then I also prepped some snacks. And then I knew the route that I was walking during the day, I would have food. Which is another thing. I didn't overpack. I didn't pack any of the food. I went home to eat it throughout the day. And yeah, I just packed a couple snacks and I knew where I would be eating. And then obviously I installed like a lot of podcasts on my phone. I charged my phone, charged my watch, prepared clothes, just everything prepared. And then I also like made sure that the weather was good, because I'm not going to be walking. I think I walked for like 18 hours. I'm not going to walk for 18 hours in like rain and wind. So that was basically all the pre-planning I did before the challenge. So then on the day I woke up, like I said, at 5 a.m. Probably could have done 4 a.m. For me, that was another thing I had planned out. I did a 21-kilometer run, which is obviously really good for efficiency, and however much you can run, I would probably recommend that. Like, even just if you can do 10 kilometers here, 10 kilometers there or something, it's really helpful. I could have ran more, but I didn't want to say if I did 25 kilometers and my legs got too sore or tired. So I stopped at 21, and I think that was good, like for efficiency. And then I was also able to do a 10-kilometer run later in the day. But yeah, running definitely helps with doing the 100,000 steps, because when I finished my run, I was at 22,000, I think, and that was like the start of the day. So I already got a bulk in there, and those were the easiest. Then another thing I did during the day, which I did not see a lot of people on YouTube doing, which I think is the most important thing almost, is that you have to walk with an objective. Like, you have to have something you're doing, because I think the challenge, like I said, it's all mental. Like, it's not hard to walk. Like, everyone's been on vacation where you're just walking up and down random streets and you look at like your phone or whatever and you've walked 1,000,000 steps and you're like, holy shit, I didn't know we did that. We just walked around and, you know, saw tourist attractions. Like, if you're walking with an objective, it's so easy. I had 2 moments during the challenge that were particularly terrible. One was at around 50,000 steps before I started walking home, which is an objective, and I was just sort of walking around for nothing. And then one at 94,000 steps, I walked, if you've watched the video, I walked into the city, and then I was at 94,000 steps, and I wanted to eat pizza, but I was already basically there. So I had to do 6,000 steps just walking in like a small area, just trying to get them in, and that sucked. So, like, even after I hit the 100k and I walked home 11,000 steps, that was, you know, with an objective. The objective was to get home, so that was again easy. So I think always walk with like an objective in mind. For me, it was mostly like walking into the city, walking back from the city, walking to this food place, walking to that food place. So I was walking to different food or supermarkets to buy something, and I was walking to and from my house. So yeah, just walk with an objective. If you're just doing some random small area. The worst I've seen is some people will literally be like, oh, I need to do steps inside my house, and they like in a, you know, 2-meter square just walk around. It's like, that's just pointless. So yeah, walking with an objective is definitely like my #1 advice, I think. And then yeah, as you guys saw, I had the food, I had the 3 meals I just mentioned, and then I had a lot of other food during the day. I had a McMuffin, I had a protein shake, I didn't even film that. Then I had like cookies, licorice, cake, bread, and pizza. Like, I basically, all I did all day was eat. And I think that's actually another strong point. People should remember to eat. I think it sounds dumb, but it's like in ultra marathons and stuff, they say that it's not a running competition, it's just an eating competition. And I think this is true here as well. Like, you're walking so much and you don't realize how many calories you're burning. At one point, I got home from my run, I had dinner, got outside, and it was a big dinner, it was the rice bowl, and then I instantly ate a cookie and licorice, and I didn't feel full at all. Like, normally just the dinner would make me feel full, and eating anything else I'd feel sick. But here it was like, didn't feel full at all, just went down the city, ate more cake. So just continue eating as much as possible. And also, if it's hot outside, continue drinking, because you obviously want to stay hydrated. So that's another point. The food is like really, really important. And you should probably eat like good food. I ate a lot of cake and stuff, which is probably not recommended, but it worked for me, so you know. And then yeah, as you guys saw, just recapping the day, my plan was to finish at around 9, but or 10. That was acceptable, and then 10, 11 if it got late. I ended up finishing at 8:30, which was much earlier than I anticipated. So I just had pizza, chilled, and then I decided, you know, there's so many hours left, I can walk home. And that's how I hit like 111k. Which is actually such a shame, because I hit 94 kilometers, and I think if I'd woken up an hour earlier at 4 a.m., or I hadn't taken that long pizza break, I could have hit 100 kilometers, which would have been fun. So in terms of my recovery, which is something I obviously didn't go over in the video because the video ended when I ended the challenge, the day of, I finished at 11:30 p.m. My legs were dead. I felt super tired. I didn't think I had any bad blisters, but as you saw in the video, I mentioned it at the end that I actually noticed I had one really large blister on the bottom of my foot. It was the foot I complained about all day. Honestly, it didn't feel that bad. Towards the end of the day, it felt pretty off, but I ended up having a blister like this long on the bottom of my foot, and then I had like a smaller one on my left foot. It was not a big deal. And yeah, on the day I just felt super tired. I went to bed. The next day, I would say the first 15 minutes waking up, it's the same as if you've gone for like just a long run or you've gone to the gym. Like your whole body just feels sore. So I had that for 15 minutes, except like to an extreme degree. Like I felt like an old person. I sort of just stumbled out into the bathroom. But then after that, it was actually it was relatively okay. Like I kept my body moving. I think that aids recovery. So I did 8,000 steps, just walking around, getting a little bit of exercise in, trying to make my legs work. And then the next day, I did 13,000 steps, and I actually felt like really okay. And then the day after, I did 20,000, so I was back to being able to walk like a normal amount of steps. And then the day after that, I did I think, was it 8 kilometers or 12? I wrote it down. Yeah, it was a 12-kilometer run. So I recovered pretty fast, like physically. The one thing I actually noticed that I don't think I've mentioned as well was the day after, I think I felt like my legs were, I wasn't physically fatigued in like my legs. It was more my stomach felt off and like my head. I think I was just like what's it called? I overexerted or something. Like my whole body just felt off, like stomach wise and such. And when I was walking, I would get like I don't know if it's like heartburn or like I would feel off in my chest. So my legs were actually not the main concern. It was more like chest area and such. But it went away, and I honestly recovered quite fast, like way faster than I thought I would. I thought it would take much longer, but the recovery process was not bad. So overall general advice to people that want to do this challenge. First off, you should do it. It's really, really fun. I had like a really great day. I want to do it again and go for 100 kilometers, which is probably around 125,000 steps. I think I could easily do it, to be honest, and I would have fun again, so that's something. But yeah, my general advice would be, don't overthink it. Like, I watched some of these YouTube videos, and they packed a bag that looked like they were going on some survival trip. They had extra shoes, all of this heavy stuff, like a huge bottle. Like, unless you live in some deserted island, you can just buy a drink when you go by the supermarket. Buy food when you need food. I took 3 pit stops. I came home, I went for a run in the morning, came home, had breakfast, changed. Then I went out all day, came home for like a late lunch, I think 4 p.m. Went for a run, and then I came home again, had dinner, and then I left. So I was home like 3 times. And I think you can do that, and otherwise just don't come home for your meals, just eat those outside as well. Just buy some fast food. I would not recommend carrying like a bunch of heavy stuff, because if you're wearing a heavy backpack, yes, it's going to be more difficult. And then, again, this should be obvious, but to some people it's not, according to what I've watched. But like, charge your phone, your earpods, your watch, charge everything, have like power banks prepared, whatever, and then you'll be fine. And then another thing is, yeah, really the eating. I think you really need to focus on eating a lot and drinking a lot, because I was never really that hungry. but I was just at no point full. And I don't know how many calories I ate, but it was like a dumb amount. So definitely keep eating. Yeah, other than that, I think that's basically the planning that went into it, what happened during the day, and recovery and my general advice. So overall, it was a really good time. Highly recommend it. If you haven't watched the video yet, you probably haven't made it this far in this video, but you should definitely go check it out. It's one of the more fun things I've done. So I will link it somewhere. But yeah, go watch the video and yeah, peace.